There is a divine law that governs all things, and it is unchanging, eternal, and perfect. When we align our thoughts and our words with this law, life begins to unfold in miraculous ways. Many believe that money, abundance, and opportunity are far from them, yet it is never money that is far away, but rather the consciousness of supply. What we hold in mind, and what we speak with our lips, becomes the very mold in which our life takes form. Words are not idle things, they are living forces, carrying within them the power to build or destroy. Every word we speak goes forth like a messenger, clothed with our belief and colored by our emotion, and it returns to us bearing the fruit of what we have sent out. When one understands this, the careless word is seen as dangerous, and the deliberate word as the secret to transformation. Words are the bridges between the unseen and the seen. In the invisible realm exists all supply, all health, all joy, all opportunity. It is the spoken word, charged with faith, that calls these things into visibility. Many imagine that circumstances alone dictate the flow of their lives, but circumstances are but mirrors of the words and thoughts that have been planted in the past. To change life, one must first change speech, for words are seeds, and every seed bears after its kind. When a word is spoken with faith, it sets in motion the law of growth. It is as though a command has been issued to the universe itself. The law never fails to respond, though the harvest may not appear instantly. Just as a seed beneath the soil is hidden for a season, so too the word works silently before it bursts forth in form. Yet one must guard against cancelling the good seed with words of doubt. To affirm wealth and then speak lack is to plant and uproot in the same breath. The wise soul speaks only what they desire to see, and holds the tongue against every word of fear. Consider how one might declare, "I live in the inexhaustible riches of the Spirit," and speak it with feeling and assurance. That word, when repeated, begins to sink into the subconscious mind, dissolving old patterns of poverty and replacing them with the consciousness of plenty. The subconscious is the fertile soil of life, and it accepts without question what is planted in it. When words of faith are spoken, they enter this inner garden and set about reproducing after their nature. The outer world then begins to rearrange itself to reflect the new pattern within. Unexpected opportunities arise, money flows from channels unseen, and doors that were shut swing open easily. All of this comes because a word of truth was spoken and believed, but words without faith are like seeds scattered on stone. They cannot grow, for the soil has not received them. It is not enough to say the word mechanically. It must be spoken with conviction, joy, and expectancy. The vibration of belief gives the word wings, and it soars swiftly to accomplish its mission. Each time the word is spoken in faith, the atmosphere around the speaker becomes charged with power, attracting to them the very thing declared. This is not imagination or wishful thinking, but the operation of an eternal law. Life answers to the word, for the word is spirit in action. The one who understands this truth learns to watch every utterance, guarding the lips as carefully as a treasure chest, knowing that within each word lies the key to abundance, health, and freedom. Repetition is the hammer that shapes the mind and molds it into alignment with divine truth. Each time a divine sentence is spoken, it carves a deeper channel into consciousness, sweeping away the debris of fear, doubt, and limitation. One utterance may flicker like a candle in the wind, but repeated 100 times, it becomes a blazing fire that consumes all shadows. The human mind is layered with old beliefs, most of them built from years of hearing and repeating words of lack, struggle, and defeat. These thoughts lodge in the subconscious, and from there silently govern experience. To overcome these ingrained patterns, The new truth must be repeated again and again until it takes root and becomes the dominant vibration. The divine sentence, spoken with intention, is not an empty chant. Each repetition plants a seed, waters it, and nourishes it with life force. By the 10th repetition, the mind begins to yield. By the 50th, old fears begin to weaken. By the 100th, the truth has become alive, not just in thought but in feeling, and feeling is the bridge to manifestation. This is why repetition is so vital. It pushes truth from the surface of the mind down into the depths, where it can take hold and blossom into outward reality. One may think at first that nothing is happening, but the invisible work is being done. The subconscious is being rewritten, the inner atmosphere cleared, and the vibration of prosperity established. Repetition also creates rhythm, and rhythm harmonizes with the great order of the universe. Every beat of the heart, every rise and fall of breath, every wave of the sea moves in rhythm, and when we repeat a divine sentence, we place ourselves into the same universal current. The word begins to ride this current, and returns multiplied. One who repeats the word with steady persistence becomes attuned to the infinite supply. Money, opportunity, and favor begin to gravitate towards such a one, drawn by the magnetic pull of unwavering thought and word. When repeated, the divine sentence builds faith. Faith is often fragile, easily shaken by appearances and circumstances. But with each repetition, faith grows stronger, like a muscle exercised daily. Soon, what once seemed impossible becomes natural to expect. The words no longer sound foreign, but begin to feel like the very truth of life. This shift in consciousness is the true miracle, for once the inner life is saturated with belief, the outer world must conform. Repetition is the doorway to this saturation. In the silence of the heart, each repeated word echoes louder than the last, until the entire being vibrates with its power. 100 times spoken is not a labor, but a joy. For with every utterance the soul rises higher, the vision grows clearer, and the channels of supply grow wider. Thus the repetition of the divine sentence transforms the mind, purifies the emotions, and aligns the whole being with the law of abundance, until wealth itself rushes forward, eager to fill the prepared place. Money is often seen as a scarce resource, something to be chased, hoarded, or feared. Yet in truth, money is nothing more than a visible symbol of an invisible supply, and that supply is divine, infinite, and inexhaustible. To the eye of spirit, there is no lack, no shortage, no famine of good. The rivers of divine abundance never run dry, for they flow from an eternal source that cannot be depleted. Scarcity is not a condition of life, but a condition of thought. When one believes in limitation, life mirrors limitation. When one believes in the endless riches of spirit, life mirrors endless provision. Thus, the transformation must begin within, by recognizing that money is simply one of many ways that divine supply expresses itself. Just as air is abundant and freely available to all, so too is the substance of wealth, waiting to take form as money, opportunity, or unexpected blessings. The problem arises only when the mind closes itself off through fear, doubt, or feelings of unworthiness. One may imagine themselves outside of the flow, but the flow itself never ceases. It is like a river running past a thirsty traveler. The water is there, abundant and near, but until the traveler reaches out and drinks, they remain parched. So it is with divine supply. Money is not withheld, but it must be claimed. When we shift our perspective from lack to abundance, we align with the truth that prosperity is our divine birthright. Money is not evil, nor is it difficult to attain. It is simply an obedient servant that flows where consciousness directs it. Those who fear money push it away. Those who revere lack unknowingly worship limitation. But those who see money as a channel of divine could welcome it without resistance, and it comes gladly, multiplied. The universe delights in filling the cup of one who dares to hold it out with faith. One must never confuse the outer channels with the true source. Employers, clients, or businesses are but instruments. They are not the givers of supply, but the avenues through which the divine abundance flows. To cling to one channel in fear is to forget the boundlessness of spirit. Channels may open and close, but the source is eternal. When one door shuts, another opens, often with greater ease and greater reward. To know this is to live without worry, for money ceases to be an object of struggle and becomes a natural expression of divine life. Money, when seen in its true light, is a reflection of faith. It comes easily to the one who knows it is already theirs by divine right. It comes joyfully to the one who speaks words of wealth and stands unwavering in belief. To the one who understands divine supply, money ceases to be elusive and instead rushes forward, as a river rushes to the sea. The law is simple. What is claimed in consciousness must appear in form. To know that money is an expression of infinite supply is to step out of struggle and into the effortless flow of abundance. An affirmation is not a plea, nor is it a wish whispered into the air with uncertainty. It is a declaration of truth, a rightful claim to what already belongs to the soul by divine inheritance. Many approach prayer and affirmations as beggars at the gate, asking, hoping, pleading for something outside of themselves to grant them favor. But this posture denies the eternal fact that all good is already given, and all supply already exists in the invisible storehouse of spirit. To affirm is not to ask but to stand in authority, to state with conviction that which is yours by divine right. It is the difference between a pauper stretching forth an empty hand and a child of the king laying claim to an inheritance. When one speaks words of truth, they do not attempt to persuade a reluctant universe. The universe is not reluctant, nor is spirit withholding. The act of affirmation is a recognition of what already is. The riches, the health, the joy, all these exist now in the unseen. The spoken word is the key that unlocks the invisible and brings it into the visible. Thus, each affirmation is a legal document in the court of divine law. It is not the voice of desperation, but the voice of authority. To say, I prosper now, or I live in divine abundance, is to assert what is eternally true, even if appearances seem otherwise. Begging carries with it the vibration of lack, and lack only produces more lack. Affirming, however, carries the vibration of possession. When you declare a truth boldly, the subconscious mind accepts it, and the outer life begins to shift to mirror this acceptance. If one says timidly, I wish I had money, the subconscious hears the wish and keeps it at arm's length. But if one affirms, I am supplied with every need fulfilled, the subconscious hears certainty and aligns with the vibration of fulfillment. Life has no choice but to follow the pattern set by the word. There is great power in standing on truth even when appearances deny it. To affirm is to plant your feet firmly and refuse to be moved by fear. When one says, this is mine by divine right, the forces of doubt begin to crumble and the gates of supply swing open. Affirmations spoken in this way are not idle words, but creative commands. They carry authority because they rest on divine law, and divine law cannot be broken. The outer world must obey the inner decree when spoken with faith. Each time you affirm, you are not coaxing God to act on your behalf, for God has already given. You are reminding yourself of the truth, aligning your thought with reality, and erasing the illusions of lack. In doing so, you position yourself to receive what is already flowing in your direction. Thus, affirmations are not begging, they are claiming. They are not requests, but acknowledgments of ownership. To affirm is to take what is already yours, and to stand fearless in the knowledge that no one and nothing can take it from you. Faith is the invisible current that draws to us the very things we desire, and when it is spoken aloud with joy and expectancy, it becomes a magnet that no circumstance can resist. To believe half-heartedly, to affirm with doubt lingering in the shadows, is like trying to light a lamp with no oil. But when faith is alive, it blazes like a torch, casting out fear and calling forth every good thing that belongs to us by divine right. Faith that is spoken with joy lifts the words above mere repetition. Joy is the music of the soul that tells the universe we are already in possession of our desire. It is not the joy that comes after receiving, but the joy that proves we have already received in spirit. When one declares abundance with a smile, when one affirms prosperity with laughter in the heart, the atmosphere becomes charged with magnetic power. Life cannot resist answering such expectancy, for expectancy itself is the signal that calls forth supply. Opportunities, ideas, and wealth are drawn like iron filings to the magnet of spoken faith. Ideas that seemed hidden suddenly rise to the surface. Solutions appear that once seemed impossible. People and circumstances arrange themselves as if by unseen design. This is not accident, but the sure operation of law. Faith sets the law in motion, joy strengthens it, and expectancy seals it. To speak words of wealth without expectancy is like planting seeds and never looking for the harvest. But to expect with gladness is to stand watching for the sprout, knowing it must come because the seed was planted. The vibration of expectancy is irresistible. The one who walks in faith spoken joyfully moves with a different light, and that light is noticed. Doors open before such a one, for their energy commands it. Wealth seeks out the individual who expects it, for expectation is proof of belief, and belief shapes reality. Even if outward conditions seem barren, the inner expectancy refuses to be fooled. It sees beyond appearances and calls forth the invisible into visibility. Faith does not beg, it knows. Joy does not wait for evidence, it celebrates before the manifestation. Expectancy is the hand that reaches out, confident that what it seeks is already on the way. When we speak affirmations in this spirit, they cease to be mere words and become decrees. To say, "I prosper now," with joy is to announce to heaven and earth that the law is already fulfilled. To say, "Money flows to me freely," with expectancy is to align with the unseen current of supply that is always moving toward us. The one who can do this consistently discovers that life begins to meet them in surprising ways. A new idea sparks a business, a chance meeting opens a door, or money appears from channels never before imagined. Faith spoken with joy and expectancy sets all of this in motion, for it is the highest vibration of belief, the very song of the soul that draws abundance swiftly and surely. The law of spirit is perfect, unchanging, and unfailing. It is as certain as the law of gravity, as steady as the rising of the sun. Whether we acknowledge it or not, it is always working, and it responds unfailingly to the words we speak and the thoughts we hold. To understand this is to live with confidence, for one no longer wonders if their affirmation will bear fruit. They know that by divine law it must. Every affirmation spoken in faith sets this law into motion, and the law, being impartial, brings forth the harvest according to the seed. If the seed is lack, lack will appear. If the seed is abundance, abundance must manifest. The responsibility, then, is not with the law, for the law cannot fail. It is with the individual who chooses the word they plant. When one declares words of prosperity, health, or success, those words are impressed upon the subconscious mind. The subconscious is the rich soil where the seeds of spoken words take root. Once a seed is planted, the law ensures it grows, though it may remain unseen for a time. Just as a farmer does not dig up the ground each day to check on the seed, so too must we trust that the affirmation is working in the unseen. To doubt, or to cancel the word with fear, is to uproot the seed before it can bear fruit. But to speak faithfully, to stand firm in the declaration, is to cooperate with the law, and the law always delivers. This is why the practice of affirmations is so powerful. Each time an affirmation is spoken, it becomes a command to the law of spirit. The universe, being governed by this law, arranges circumstances, opens channels, and draws resources to fulfill that command. What appears as coincidence is nothing more than the invisible law fulfilling its task. To those who understand, there is no mystery, only certainty. The one who affirms wealth with conviction does not wonder if money will come. They know it must, for the law has been set in motion, and the law cannot fail. There is peace in this understanding, for it removes struggle and fear. Many labor and worry, believing they must force their way to success. Yet all striving is useless without alignment with law, and all effort is magnified when it flows in harmony with spirit. To speak the word of truth is to align oneself with this divine current. Then success becomes natural, abundance flows without resistance, and opportunities appear with perfect timing. Affirmations are the keys that unlock the storehouse of the infinite. Each one is a decree to the law of spirit, and each decree must be honored. The universe does not pick and choose whom it will bless. It responds impartially to the vibration of belief. Thus, the one who speaks words of lack will see lack, and the one who speaks words of wealth will see wealth. The law is unfailing. To know this is to step into mastery, for one no longer begs or hopes, they declare and receive, confident that the eternal law of spirit always fulfills its promise.